Cinema Classics is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center at 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org. I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Johnny DiLoretto. And this is Cinema Classics.
It is.
Indeed. Would it be anything else? We got a new, look at this, new state-of-the-art sign. Thanks to your frequent It's Movie Time co-host.
Yes, right. Linda Boss McClellan.
So I am going to take you're going to be shocked. I'm taking a back seat to you this time.
I can't believe it.
Because I have a lot of questions. So the questions are brought on by this new program at Gateway Film Center. Pretty historic program, actually. Beginning in January and through May, we are going to screen the entire canon of Ghibli anime studio films.
Right.
Okay? So this is a famous Japanese anime studio. They have produced some of the most successful, artistically and commercially successful anime films of all time. There are about 22 films in the entire lineup.
Amazing.
So you know some of them.
I know some.
Oh
yeah.
Rattle off a few of the titles.
Well, why don't we talk a little bit about Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, which everybody knows, because that's the big winner from that studio.
Yeah.
Howl's Moving Castle.
All right.
Great.
Now, here's the thing. My confession is, I know about all of these films.
Yes.
I've heard about all of them. Seen none. I have seen none. Now, this is what was really interesting when we announced this this new series of films. It probably got the most passionate reaction from fans of the genre than I've seen in the entire time that I've been at Gateway Film Center. Really, an outpouring of support for it. I was shocked, quite frankly. So, what I want to know is, what is it? Do you know, like, what is the appeal of this particular genre?
If you take the broad, beautiful animations that Americans do, and they're gorgeous, from Disney on, you look at that screen, they're beautifully illustrated, they have a lot of great dialogue, but none of them has the painterly quality of just the visuals on these Japanese anime. And that's 200 years of tradition from graphic artists in Japan, and they're still building on that. I have a few words that I try to put together to describe it. Subtle use of color, painterly, detailed, clear lines.
Okay.
And we do even have some charcoal. I think of the last one I was looking at here. So visually, it's stunning. It doesn't have the broad strokes that animation we're used to has. It's a finer, more detailed use, and it is plastered with humanism. I mean, every character on there is derived from mythology or from the great human experience.
So is part of the passion about it, John, does it have something to do with a reaction, maybe, sort of an aesthetic reaction against computer animated films?
Well, you know, I would say it's an alternative, and it's a kind of world where if you're interested in the visual realism of Andrew Wyeth's paintings, you may suddenly discover an impressionistic painter who gets you say, this is completely different. I thought this was just this kind of animation, and suddenly it's a completely different universe. It's like going to classical music from pop music. It's just has so much more complexity and more depth. But yet I took, in fact, our designer to see one of these, and she was stunned at how beautiful the illustrations were and how sweet and humane the story.
So what about the stories themselves, the storytelling in these movies? A lot of times I'll read the synopses, and they seem, you know, in the little paragraph that you get, to be pretty elaborate story-wise. They're not as simple as, say, you know, toys come to life.
No, it's exactly why I use the word complex. They are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take a look at, it's Hayao Miyazaki was the founder and the big illustrator. In fact, for a long, long time, he illustrated every frame
Mm-hmm.
of their animations. So he's the big gun. If you take a look at a couple of his only, Princess Mononoke and then Spirited Away, you might find both of them about a 10-year-old girl who travels away from home into an exotic land. One is set in the Middle Ages, and as she meets these characters, you begin to say, hey, I think I saw Dorothy do that.
Right.
Or I think I saw Alice in Wonderland do that.
So, do these, a lot of them rooted in Japanese myth and folklore?
You got it.
Is that right?
You got it. But what I think is one of the beautiful things is you begin to see there are myths too, about striking out from home, about the beauty of the innocent, and particularly in this case in young girls going out, traveling out of their family, which for the Asians is a very difficult thing, even more than they are for Americans. So it's a great adventure.
Yeah.
And it usually has amazing kind of beasts and human beings with different kind of bodies. And
right.
So it's filled with stuff that it's not unusual for us. But putting it together with such delicacy, this is the beauty of it.
And what about how they fall in line with sort of, family movie going? Are these adult films, or are they, kid friendly? Where do they fall?
They are all kid friendly, except that there was one that came out just about 5 years ago called The Secret World of Ariete, in which a black crow smashes through the window of the little boy's bedroom. It's menacing as heck. It's kind of even wondering whether a kid should go to that. I think this is unusual.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Kids
this
should be scared. You're a big.
okay.
You've always told me
not me
to take my kids to
not me.
whatever. You would
definitely
have me bring Franco to the Hateful Eight.
I am not. Right. I am not talking about me. But it is. There are menacing elements of it. But for the ones that I have seen, the half a dozen or so that I know, I would say every kid would love it.
I'm surprised you said that one, because The Secret Life, or is the Secret World?
Yes, Secret World
of Ariete. That was based on the beloved children's novel, The Borrowers.
Yeah, I know, the Clark family.
Which was turned into a movie in the 90s, I think, with John Goodman.
Yeah, right. And true, I have picked a moment. In fact, by the way, Saoirse Ronan is the voice.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah. So, but you asked me if it's, if these were kid friendly.
Yeah.
And they really are. What is not kid friendly, I think, is this complexity. That we usually.
But that's great, because you offer these kids something a little meatier, a little
for
heavier.
Vincent, you're not talking about a normal kid.
Right.
Your kid is. Yeah.
Well, kids, adults, everybody apparently loves these films. So it's the Ghibli studio canon, the entire canon of these films, beginning in January, running through May at Gateway Film Center. We'll have 2 showtimes, one on Saturday at 2, that will be dubbed, and one on Sunday at 2 p.m. that will be subtitled, so everybody gets, their way. And then we'll add showtimes prior to each week. So check out the website, gatewayfilmcenter.org, for showtimes and more information.
I'll have to take some of my grandkids.
Yeah, take him.
And you can take Franco.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll initiate him in the ways of anime.